Welcome, and thank you for joining me for another coffee with Bridget. Today's coffee is Friendly's Cookies and Cream, and I am really enjoying my cup of coffee. So I do have it here. But today's video is a little different, and this has been kind of in my mind for like the last week or so since Adam the Woo passed away on December 22nd. And I really wanted to do a video from the fans' perspective because I think it's important for content creators to hear that perspective, and I think other fans can relate to it. So I wanted to tell my story of how Adam the Woo impacted my life. So my story begins in 2017. I was on bed rest with my daughter, Michelle, and I couldn't go anywhere. I was sleeping downstairs on the couch. Couldn't leave the house. I was very much on pins and needles because I'd lost a daughter before at 5 months. Someday I'll make a video about all that, probably soon, probably in March. But I couldn't really go anywhere. So my outlet was vloggers, and I got into Disneyland vloggers in particular. And that's because Disneyland is my happy place. I was an annual pass holder in the 90s for about 5 years. That was back when it was $100 to get a season pass. And I went almost every weekend. It was my escape from reality in a lot of ways. And I would go and I would just people watch some weekends. And my nephew, who's now in his 20s, we would take him to the park. And this is all during my teenage years and early 20s. So Disneyland has always had a very special place in my heart. When I was younger, I used to go to Disneyland every year, and that was because we had a friend at Disneyland who would let us in for free. And now thinking about it, meeting him in the front of the park and him lifting the opening the chain link rope type thing and letting us in was kind of special, and I didn't know that at the time. But we would go every year, and thanks to him, we would get in for free. So Disneyland reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of my teen years. It is my escape from reality. So when I discovered Disneyland vloggers in 2017, I really got into them. And Adam the Woo was one of those vloggers that I discovered and really helped me escape from the bed rest, from being anxiety ridden. Watching for an hour, I would be transported to another place, go on an adventure. It was a beautiful thing. And there's been many others, Resort TV 1, Paging Mr. Morrow, Super Enthused, Right Down Main Street. There's a lot of them that I watch even now. I don't watch them as often because I'm very busy. I'm doing my own thing because I'm not on bed rest, but I do watch them pretty often. And I always watched Adam the Woo because Adam was always up to something interesting. It was always kind of like, okay, let's check out YouTube, see what Adam's up to. That was my thing. But that's how I first discovered Adam the Woo and many Disneyland vloggers. And of course, then I got into Disney World, which was like, wow, I can go to Disney World virtually through the YouTube and go through ride-alongs and all that. And then I checked out Tokyo Sea. That's how I found PC Dev. And then, of course, Disneyland Paris, which Adam the Woo just recently went to this year. So there was a lot of content that I really enjoyed, and it started in 2017. But one of my favorites, it was the Knott's Berry Farm, and I always thought Knott's was an underrated one, and I used to go to Knott's Scary Farm almost every year. So it was always fun, especially the years that I went, like 2015 and 2016, which is the 2 cards that I showed you. We'd get the Haunted Dreams package. We'd stay at the hotel overnight, get dinner with the characters, and then breakfast at the hotel. But it was always fun to see Adam go through the mazes first. I had to pause there because my daughter came in. But it was always a fun thing to kind of see Adam go into the mazes first and then go into the mazes myself. And there were always things that he noticed or I noticed, and it was just always kind of fun to compare experiences. He never ruined the mazes, he always showed bits and pieces of it, but it was always well crafted and well done. And I really enjoyed that. So that's one of the highlights I always had with Adam's videos, and I'm sure that I'm going to go back and watch older videos where he went into the mazes and had fun, especially at Not Scary Farm, because he had fun with the scare actors. Sorry, my kids interrupted me. So the haunt season was one of my favorite seasons, thanks to Adam, especially since I didn't get to go to a lot of haunts and all the other places. I mostly just went to Not Scary Farm. So that was something that I looked forward to every year. But probably one of the most special things that happened while I was a fan of Adam the Woo, and this happened when Michelle was about 2 years old. So this is probably about 2017, maybe. I'm so bad at years. But he did it might have been earlier than that, but he did a giveaway. He said, if you send me a self-addressed envelope, I'll send you a couple of pins and a sticker. And it was only one day, and I told my daughter, I was like, do you want to do that? Because my daughter and I would watch the videos, and this has been going on for a couple years, every day. And she's like, Mama, I want to. And so we sent the self-addressed envelope, and the videos around that are hilarious because here he is pulling out hundreds, maybe thousands of these self-addressed envelopes. He was thinking that only 100 or so people would send in the self-addressed envelope because he only advertised it for a day. And here he gets whole bins filled at his post office. And so those are some of my favorite videos. And I did get 2 pins and a sticker. And I'm going to show you the sticker here in a moment. I don't know where the pins are because those were my daughter. So we actually wrote Michelle Corns on the envelope, and she's the one who received it. But it was a very fun event. So let me go show you where Adam resides in my house. So this is where the sticker ended up. And first I was going to put it on my car, but I decided to put it on my filing cabinet. And as you can see, it resides under Batman's sticker and just above Anna. And so that is the little bit of Adam the Woo merchandise that he sent to us when we sent that self-addressed envelope. So that is my little story about how I, got a little piece of Adam the Woo merchandise sent by him to my daughter. And it was a very special moment, a special memory for both of us. It was really hard to tell my daughter that Adam the Woo had passed away because, well, kids have a different perspective. We've had pets pass away and stuff, but it's kind of different when you say, an adult that they were attached to passed away. So that was kind of difficult. And she was very much interested in me showing that sticker. But as you can tell, I walk past Adam's visage every day. Or visage. I think that's how you say it. Every day. And, so we would watch it every day. Sometimes I'd watch it with her. Sometimes I wouldn't. I'd watch it on my phone. More so often on my phone than on the TV recently. But, you watch someone for almost a decade and they really impact your life. So I think that's important going forward. You never know whose life you're impacting, who you are affecting, how you're influencing them. And I think one of the things that I really admired about Adam was he was such a positive person and he positively impacted so many people. And he did encourage you to go up and say hi to him in the theme park. And, that was always kind of a dream of mine, is maybe be at Disneyland and run into him. That would have been really cool. And now I guess, there are other people that could happen with, but it would have been cool to meet him that way. And it was always kind of fun that in the back of your mind, you knew he could be that approachable. And he was the type to respond to his comments. I remember when he moved to Florida, he actually responded to my comments, congratulating him, saying he really enjoyed it. So that's also impactful. But that's the end of this video.